South Africans are often labelled as poor savers, but the reality is that many are unable to save due to financial difficulties. With National Savings Month being celebrated in July, the focus is on promoting financial freedom. South Africans should make it a priority to save money to guarantee a more financially secure future for themselves and for their families. For more insights, we are now joined by Paulvia Shiburi, who is a debt management specialist. Paulvia, thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me tonight.
It's an absolute pleasure. South Africans are not savers. And this has been going on for many years.
Yeah.
This has just become a part of our complexion. What do you think contributes to this cultural behavior as South Africans?
You know, firstly, I want to say that it's not that South Africans don't want to save.
Right.
It's that there isn't, enough money to save from. A lot of South Africans are over-indebted, which then leaves them in a position where they don't have anything at all to save. You know, if 30 or if 60 or 70% of your income goes towards debt, then you still have your living expenses. That puts you in a position where you are not able to save. So we need to go back to why are we not saving? What is the main reason that we're not saving? Is it because of expenses? Is it because of debt? And then once you have identified that, then you can start to work on how to actually start saving.
Speaking of that, I mean, if we are to compare maybe different countries and cultures, countries such as China are known to be relatively high savers. And of course, you can't compare that to South Africa. But they have policies like a one-child family, which contributes to them having less expenses, like you've mentioned. And therefore, at the end of the day, they're able to save more. Can we use a blanket approach when it comes to different cultures, different classes, when we encourage people to save?
You know, a blanket approach in South Africa will not work. Reason why it will not work is because we've got obviously different, different income brackets. We cannot use, just a blanket approach for everybody, because we need to be in a position where, yes, there need to be sort of rules that needs to be implemented and enforced. However, each and every individual should have, a special way or rather, and something that is personalized for them that can actually help them, in terms of saving as well.
It's a very difficult conversation, especially in the very difficult economic times that South Africans find themselves in. But what would you say are the low-hanging fruits? Where can South Africans start in trying to save? I think the rule of thumb is what, 10, 20% of what you earn?
Yes, it's when we look at the issues of saving, we look at the rules of a realistic budget, 50% which is your needs and 30% your wants, and then 20% should be for your debt obligations and for your savings.
Right.
So now that is the minimum that is, that can be used, in terms of saving. However, what I always tell people is that there are other simple ways that, small things that we can actually use to save more, such as rewards points, that can actually help go a long way. If you, use petrol at a certain gas station, maybe keep it that way until you get enough points where you can actually start saving that. Same applies with, buying your groceries. Do it at a particular store where you know that you can save or earn points and then that you can later use, or you can just convert into cash. So it's really these small little things that needs to be implemented, and then believe me, it can actually go a long way.
But just from working with a lot of individuals and going through debt counseling with them, do you find that we are spending more on things that we actually don't need? Are there things that we could do away with, like that coffee from that expensive coffee shop every single morning? Does that even make a difference?
Such small things like that do actually make a difference. Reason why I'm saying this is because you actually get to realize to say that, for an example, if I am paying an X amount for a subscription that I use maybe once or twice in a month, is it necessary that I keep it, or is it possible that I can downgrade that particular, subscription? And then that, that difference of 200 or 100 rand, and then you can actually go and put it somewhere else. But look at how many things on a monthly basis are we paying for that we're actually not even using. Some of them we use once or twice, and then but we pay for an entire month. So those are some of the things that one can look at, because to say that, look for extra income, it's a bit drastic. Not only is it drastic, but sometimes because of the economy, it's unrealistic. And, you know, when we look at taking care of such small things like that, it actually does help, you know, of course, but I always say that you do need to eliminate the major thing that's actually taking most of your money so that you can be in a position to save.
And when we look at the different classes and the different sectors within our economies, are we finding that the gap gets wider and wider with regards to the haves and the have-nots in terms of saving? Do we find that the people that are wealthier have more opportunities to save, are more inclined to save, as opposed to those that are living from hand to mouth?
I actually differ on that, because as a debt counselor, most of the people that actually come to us and seek help are people that are actually quite high income earners. This tells us that there's a problem. Either we can say a behavioral issue with regards to debt, and also how is debt, you know, is it easily given in South Africa? Those are things that we need to look at. But what I would say is that a lot of people that actually come and seek help are actually high income earners, and which is quite shocking, because at sometimes you think that with an X amount of salary, this should be enough, you know, to cover for all of your expenses and, you know, your debt obligations and so forth. But most of the time, that is not the case.
Do you find that with our historical behavioral ways of how we relate with money has a way in which it influences the way in which we deal with money today? I mean, some people will say that in December we all go out and buy clothes, because back then when our parents only could earn a higher income at a certain time of the year, that was when they could go out and buy clothes for children, and that has now become culturalized within how we spend our money.
Yes, I agree. That is the case in a lot of people, primarily because, for an example, December, everybody wants to take time off, spend time with their family, and this is where a lot of money is actually spent. And now when you look at that, why is it that? It's because it has become a norm. It has always been like that, a culture that in December, you know, we get together as family, we spoil ourselves. But then right now, looking at the economy right now and 10, 20 years back is completely different. Perhaps we need to have a different approach to say that we don't need to just, you know, spend money only in December. We can do certain things. We can have holidays even during the year, you know, which things are a lot cheaper around that time.
Of course. So if someone acknowledges that they are in debt and they want to overcome this debt, what would be the first steps that you would advise them to take in order for them to move into being more financially free?
The first thing that, you know, is acknowledging that you've got a problem. And then once you actually acknowledge that you've got a problem, that's a great step. Then you contact debt counselors that can help you get out of debts. But remember that every process that is implemented, or every process program that you will go under, you need to understand that it's not an overnight thing. It will take a bit of time, and it will take discipline and commitment from you, but guarantee that at the end goal is to get you debt free, and you will become debt free, provided that everything is followed to the T.
And don't hide those letters under the mattress.
No.
And know exactly.
We're going to find out either way. So.
Exactly what it is. How can individuals plan for retirement? We find that a lot of people come retirement age are then dependent on the government grant, whereas they've worked throughout their lives and retirement wasn't necessarily a priority. At what age should you be planning for retirement? How much should you be putting away in order to secure your elderly years?
You know, I would say that as soon as you start working, start to you know, to consider that. Reason being because some people start planning for retirement at age 30. By then, age 30 is not too late. It's still possible you can do it. However, the advisable age is as soon as you get a job within your 20s, that is the best time to actually start saving, you know, and look at the different plans that are available. Which one is better? And remember that also you need to look at, you know, the benefits as well. And again, you mentioned how much should one pay towards that retirement. It's all about the end goal. What is it that you want to achieve at the end? How much money do you want to, you know, be sitting with comfortably, you know? So these are the things that what will determine the amount, of course, the age, the time, and of course now the overall payout that needs to be done. So that will determine how much the person will need to pay.
Lastly, as a debt management specialist, what would you say is the one biggest mistake many South Africans make, especially when it comes to their finances?
Do not take out credit just because they called you and said that, you know, you afford, you qualify for it. Take credit because you need it, because these are some of the traps that people fall into. They will tell you, but I got a call saying that I qualify for, you know, an X amount, and I decided to take it. Remember, that states that you're committing to pay over the next coming 4 or 5 years. So I would always advise consumers to make sure that they do not take out debt unnecessarily. We cannot say avoid it at all, because it's not possible to completely avoid debt. However, you can avoid unnecessary debt.
All right, Paulvia, a very difficult time for consumers in South Africa. We need to tighten our belts a little bit more, but like you say, it's doable by avoiding certain things, takeouts and eating at home, and ensuring that you don't use those subscriptions that you don't need. Thank you so much for your advice.